This video is not sponsored by ITC Quick Attach. We just really like the dude and we love his products. ITC Quick Attach has a broad line of products used to upgrade your tractor with accessories like chainsaw holders, toolbox holders, and also like chain holders, things that you would need in the woods. And now they also offer a kit for basically protecting your tractor in the wood, hardening your tractor. Get 5% off using code TONY5. Check it out, ITC Quick Attach. Joe, it seems like I just seen you yesterday. You're on mute, buddy.
Hey, I'm welcome. Back.
First day, right?
Up, That's
first
right.
Time?
First time
behind the mic.
That's right. Never been behind a mic before.
Never been behind a mic. So we had it's a deja vu because we were here yesterday at the same time doing basically the same thing.
That's right.
So if you guys don't know, yesterday that Joe and I were part of this big group on My Clutter Garage live stream. I think there was like 7 or 8 of us. Social media guys that had went to the show in Louisville. And if you haven't seen that video, you can go to either my channel and look on the link or Joe's channel, and you can look on there and see the video as it was filmed live. And it was it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see. You know, we had like My Clutter Garage, Joe, myself, Evan from Country View Acres, just who am I leaving out? Tractor Time with Tim?
Well, now we're name dropping him. It's Tractor Time with Tim. We had Nathan from Out of the Woods was in the comments.
Lucas from Peaks Peak.
Brad from Piney Grove Homestead was on.
And check the comments out too, because we had a lot of YouTubers over in the comments too. So we had it was pretty cool time, and not something you do every day to be invited to something like that. So I sure appreciate Ed for inviting us. Ed, if you don't know My Clutter Garage, he has probably got the best live streams on Monday nights of any YouTuber I know.
Oh, bonjour, Pierre. Hello from Quebec. Je parle un peu français, Pierre. Un peu. So, Vance, what's up? Wheeler Farm, Kent, Kevin Fee.
Kevin Fee there. Hello, buddy.
He came back for more, brother.
Hope Construction, he's back.
That's right. Appreciate y'all coming in, checking in with us tonight. And I know that this is a lot. And hey, next Tuesday night, we won't be here because we have something going on, but I did wear my patriotic hat.
Oh, yeah.
So how about that? Got
vote.
Stars and bars on there. And
go vote.
Yeah, so we figured we've already poor Lucas. Marcy, you're very welcome. We had Lucas on when we had a debate, so I felt like we kind of shorted Lucas a little bit. So we need to have Lucas back on and let him talk a little bit about some of the tractor discussions he's having. But yeah, we won't be here next week. But this week, we are going to be talking all about the
tractors that we break.
Well, the do's and don'ts. There are some do's to do with your tractor, some don'ts.
Tractors that I break?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, we got a special guest that knows everything about breaking tractors coming up here.
That's right. And everything about, and he's actually just coming on as a friend, not really to represent ITC, but he also builds some things that can help protect tractors, which are really nice. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, tonight, listen, I would love for everyone in the comment section, you guys, again, this is our bunch of friends hanging out, campfire chat. Yeah. And
no real plan to talking about how I'm going to talk about like first time tractor owners and mistakes they make as far as what's broke on a tractor often and then damage that's done to tractors because of first time tractors. So if you guys are out there and you think of something that I haven't thought of, by all means, please drop a comment there saying, hey, this is a common mistake, because I think this is also a good time to learn. So if somebody's, we put the title as, something along the lines of, don't break your tractor. So people will do research on tractor and they may come across this video. And I think this will be a really good asset for them.
Well, it's almost like a hunting channel too, because it's the do's and don'ts of, I don't know who wrote
the do's and don'ts. So
that's some Paris grammar.
It's not my fault that voice recognition can't understand good Southern. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I said the do's and don'ts of tractors, and it said that it put in the title and it says does and don'ts, and I didn't see it, and I published it, and I get a little text message like, you might want to correct that spelling.
Yeah, it's all right. So Kevin, to answer your question, we won't be on next week. Next Tuesday's election day. I'm sure everyone's going to be watching a lot of coverage and things like that. So
not this
we'll
guy.
Hang out. Well, I mean, again, it bumps up against something that I think is
I'll check in on it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dave Haas, new tractor owner, he got a TYM 474C with a cab. Good for him. with a Bombalite 348 mulcher, and
Oh,
he's loving
buddy,
it.
I love it. Love
No
that mulch.
question, you're loving it.
That is literally my favorite tool. Let me ask Pierre, I can't remember. Did I meet you in Canada? If let me know in the comments. I can't remember. I met so many people over the years. Yeah, well, I think he might be. I might have met him at the Sawmill show thing that I went to.
Okay.
I don't know too many French Canadians, but either way, you're still welcome, and we love you.
When we were kids, we went to. My mom took us. My parents were divorced when I was basically a baby, and my mom took us to Quebec and Montreal, and we were exposed to the French speaking regions of Canada. And my sister fell in love with it so much at that age that she ended up going to college for French. She has a master's in French, and she has a PhD from Vanderbilt University in French. So
you're saying that she's very much smarter than me.
I'd say she's smarter than all of us. Now she has no common sense whatsoever, but she's smartest dumb person ever met. So she can't fight her way out of a paper bag, but she's brilliant. But Joe's outdoor experience. What's up, my friend? How are you?
I thought that comment right there was pretty awesome. I'd rather watch you guys.
Yeah.
I just thought that. So, but Pierre, that is my buddy. So I met Pierre
we should have had a shirt made said, Joe and Tony 2024. That would have been good.
I like it. Yeah, we should do that.
Maybe 2028 we'll do that.
There you go.
We'll just see.
Yep. Well, hey, we got this guy in the background. He's out backstage. You want to bring him on yet, or you want to just keep talking about? Let's talk about him first and then bring him on, or well, we can make fun of him right now. He can't do anything. He can't defend himself in any way right now.
Oh, I don't really know there's any way to defend him, man. He's a great guy. So
he's a super dude.
Evan said, didn't I see you guys last night? Evan is a freeze drying fool right now.
Yes, he did.
That's
wearing it. Everybody that gets a freeze dryer the first 2 years, or the first year or so, it's like wide open, and then you kind of get a whole bunch of stuff built up and you slow down. Quick story on the freeze dryer. Evan can appreciate this. We had a big family reunion on last Saturday, and it went awesome. But I kind of overdid it on the order, and we catered barbecue from our local barbecue place, and I ordered 2 shoulders for 50 people. And so my freeze dryer is full of another shoulder because they only eat 1 shoulder, and so I have a freeze dryer completely full of barbecue right now, running its cycle. So
nice.
Yep.
Hold on, let's go ahead and bring Jake in. I'm gonna play a little joke on Evan.
All right, here we go. Oh, I know what you're. Oh, yeah. Hi.
Sorry, I was going to do it 5 times. So last night, every time Evan would respond to a comment, it posted it 5 guys. So
it was him and Tim both did it. I don't know. Both of them did it. When Tim posted something, it did 5 times as well.
Yeah. Jake, what's up, buddy?
How you doing, man? Hey.
What's good to have you, man?
Yeah, good to be here.
So tonight we're going to talk about the do's and don'ts of
the do's and don'ts
of. I got deer hunting on mine. That's what's going on.
The do's and the don'ts. Yeah, speaking of deer hunting,
do's and don'ts of tractor operation. And so first off, I'm going to ask you, what is the number one thing damaged on a tractor from a first-time tractor owner? Put in the comments real quick what you think the first thing is damaged on a tractor. You guys don't say, you probably know, but put in comments. What's the first thing a new tractor owner damages?
Their pocketbook.
Well, that's it.
The wallet.
The wallet for sure, but I'm talking about like operational damage.
While he's doing that, or you guys are texting, I'm going to brag on my son real quick.
Look at that.
First deer ever.
Nice.
I posted on Instagram. 12 years old, 157-yard shot. I shook like a leaf, and he was stone cold.
Yep.
So,
how far?
157 yards.
So Kevin got it for sure. End loader, yep. Front end loader. That is the number one thing that people, first-time purchasers of tractors, never owned a tractor, never been around it. They assume that it's a construction piece of equipment and like try to dig with it. And you can do a lot with a loader if you're willing to take your time, but a lot of first-time people will get frustrated and like jam and jam on it. You know what I'm talking about? They get on there and they jam on it, and bend the loader frame. That's the
Well,
number one thing.
Chris Whitehead actually did what I thought, because I did that. I didn't do it on my first tractor, but the first cab tractor that I bought had, the cab tractor, your visibility is limited at the end of the where your quick attaches. So anyway,
I have been to the quick attach channels before.
Yeah.
So Jake is our resident expert on breaking tractors. What is your number one?
The front radiator screen.
That was in there. Somebody put it in there. I think that was one of the actual first grill, Wheeler Farm. Yep, he put grill.
Yeah,
Tony Wallace.
That's what we see when people call us looking for protection. It's either that or some kind of line underneath the chassis.
Yeah,
I think Tony Wallace watched your 474 400-hour review video. Tony, he said, I thought it would be the key starter plastic cover. Am I right, Tony?
Yeah, that's right. So for people who don't know, that I did a 250 hour review and was it maybe a 500-hour review on the 474. No, I ain't done the 500-hour, but I was talking about it again, almost 500 hours. And the only thing that's broke on the tractor that I didn't break is the little key thing that the little plastic thing covers the keys up. I was messing with it, dry rod it, the front little cap popped off. So that's kind of my running joke. Now I broke things on the 474, but I'm man enough to say that I broke it. The tractor didn't break. I had done something dumb. So
yeah, that's a challenge with a tractor that size too. Don't be a Tony.
Yeah, don't be a Tony. It's time for that. I'm gonna show it right now. It's early in the show. Guys, I can't stay much past 8 o'clock today, so we gotta move along. But Jake sent me the shirt the other day, and we had a conversation. ITC quick attach on the front of it, and then this is only a buddy will like do something this to you. Don't be a Tony. I love it. So
I like it.
You'll be seeing that shirt in some videos coming up.
I saw that video and I heard you say it again. And it was like 2 o'clock in the morning when I was watching it, because what other time do you watch YouTube videos? And I immediately ordered a shirt to have shipped to you. I'm like, this just needs to get there quickly. So I just ordered a one-off shirt and had it sent over to you.
I like it.
For those of us who are willing to share their weakest moments, what is the most expensive thing you have broken on your tractor? And leave a comment, and I'll tell you what mine was. And I want to give you some information that you've not heard before. So you got to make sure you stay here to hear my story, because it's going to really emphasize how much my dad used to say, you can't fix stupid. So
can I share mine? I'll share
absolutely.
mine.
You show yours right now. Go ahead.
So I think this was my fault. It was covered under warranty, and but I think it was my fault. Y'all tell me if you think it was my fault. So on my Coyote RX 7320, I was using my my power grease gun, my DeWalt grease gun,
right,
and left the barn. Came back a few days later, and the seal had busted. The seal was fine when I parked, but then I greased it, and then there was UTF on the floor of the barn. So, or whatever the 90 weight gear roll. Excuse me. Sorry, it's been a long day.
What seal are we talking about?
It was the front axle seal, like on the wheel.
Okay.
I think I busted it, but maybe not. Maybe it was just something that failed and dirt got in there and ground it down. And
so a lot of times
they said that's not an uncommon thing. They've seen it before. They just questions asked, covered under warranty. But anyway,
a lot of times what will happen on front axles, you'll see them leaking around the seals. Well, on top of each axle, generally when they put the oil in, there's a breather valve, and we'll get mud or dirt in there and what clog that breather valve up. And as the oil heats up inside the axle, it expands and it gets to a point where it'll start pushing oil out. And then the reason that breather valve is so important is it'll let that air expand out. And then also a lot of times they'll have a check valve in it where it lets the air go out. And then whenever it cools off, it instead of letting the air suck back in, it actually sucks the air back in around the seals, moving, keeping the oil in. So that is
so I didn't do it.
Huh?
So I didn't do it.
Probably not. No, I wouldn't say no. I don't know. I mean, maybe if you overfilled it, it's the only thing possible. You know, that's an option.
But then it would just come out of the top, though.
I think so. Yeah. I think it's probably not that one. Wouldn't you? What about you, Jake? What you got?
Probably a door on a cab tractor.
Oh yeah.
As far as operating a tractor, when I was like 12, I messed up a different tractor, but I did it with a trailer, not the tractor. So that tractor's still broken. Still have it. Still broken.
Yeah, I think Evan did that with his.
I know Hank has broke a door, and they're like $1,000 too.
Well, look at Kent.
Yeah,
broke the PTO on his first tractor, $6,000. Wow.
I was really feeling bad about myself. I still think I'm going to top the list of dumb. So here goes mine. I was in the woods with a posto digger on the rear of the 474. And I was doing some grapple work, and I was going back and forth. And I kept telling myself I need to take that posto digger off because it's really hanging out. Oh, he said broke the door, towing it down the road. I'm assuming it flew open when I can see that happening. Yeah. Ouch. So anyway, I backed into a tree with the posto digger on it, and the posto digger literally just jammed up, and it ripped the quick connects for the hydraulics. It literally ripped the threads out of the cast iron valve. So that was like $470 something of stupid tax. Yeah, this is the part I've never told.
Has that one on?
Yeah, this is the part I've never told. And so you guys, hey, you're my buds, and we share. So about 3 weeks later, I had posto digger on again. I had already bought the valve, put it on, and I backed into another tree and did the exact same thing. But at that time, I had reached out to TYM and said, "Hey, man," I said, "you guys have got a 4-valve, dual rear remote. I'd like to show how to put that on." So they sent it to me. They sent it to me to show how to do an install video on it. So I've never told anybody that story, but I didn't want to pay the stupid tax twice. And sometimes it's a benefit being a social media guy.
Yeah. Well, you worked for it, so you paid for it somehow. It's just
I mean, I know a bunch of people that bought it, and now I love I don't think I'll ever have another tractor that doesn't have dual rear remotes. It's such a cool feature or two. Like I got a new offset ditch flail mower that you guys can see on the channel. Got it an Ironcraft, and I'm really looking forward to putting that in. And you really need to do a remote for that, so that's a neat feature.
Yeah, well, I don't understand what that means.
Expensive deal wasn't to the trash. I have an older Kubota that doesn't have folding top and a chunk of dirt raised off the back tire.
Oh, he took out his garage door.
Ooh,
that's what that is.
Yeah. So funny story. And I didn't realize I'd done so much dumb things. So I had bought a little Massey Ferguson GC 1705, and it has a very short rollover protection system. And I was out in, I could just fly into the garage, right? Well, I traded it, I sold it and went and bought a LS MT 125, which has a much taller rollover protection. And the first time I was out mowing in the yard, we had a rainstorm just out of nowhere popped up, and I was trying to get that last little cut. And I got that last cut made, and then I high range, wide open. I've been driving in my garage like that for 2 years, and I lifted the front wheels of the tractor off of the ground probably 3 feet before I got that thing stopped and come back down. And it did a little damage to the vinyl siding on the top of the garage, but I was really impressed with how well the tractor was put together because it didn't bend anything. Because I mean, I probably hit that doing, I'd say 5 or 7 miles an hour. I mean, it jolted me pretty hard and threw me in the steering wheel.
Ouch.
I've got a question for you guys.
I know I'm not the only one who's done some stupid things. And all the people we got 55 people in here, and I'm not seeing no like detail what you did to your tractor.
Are you not reading the comments? Joe's Outdoor Experience. 3 days after my tractor was delivered, I put it on its right side in a ditch.
All right, there's my buddy. There you go. Now that's honest.
Praise the Lord, Joe, that you're okay. That's all.
Yeah.
Man. But Jeff, the topic tonight is the do's and don'ts with your tractor, or as we say it in the King's language or the Queen's language, do's and don'ts with your tractor. So
the do's and don'ts with your tractor.
We're just talking about some things like the things you can and cannot do. Like, for instance, you don't ever want to curl your bucket down and then push with it, because that's a great way to bend your hydraulic cylinders on your front end loader. So tweaking the loader is obviously an easy way to do it. And we're just sharing ideas like that. And the one thing that I would say too is, I actually made a note of some of the things just to kind of like, if I could bring any value today, to especially, Wheeler Farm said he's still new, has less than 10 hours on his tractor. Well, Wheeler Farm, I'll tell you, fuel is your number one thing you probably want to be very careful of, because these new tractors now, they are not tolerant of
gasoline.
Papaws. Yeah. Gasoline or Papaw's rusty, gravity driven fuel can. I mean, some of the best things to do is, if you're not going to go through fuel very quickly, rotate through fresh fuel, make sure you put fuel treatment in there, check the jugs, because that's the easiest way to mess these newer tractors up, is water in the fuel or algae or something else growing in there.
Jeff, we also got
end of sermon.
Here. Yeah, Jake here is our resident expert on tearing up tractors, and so if you have any questions for him, he's going to enlighten us on some of the things that he's done. I know we've all done it. Every time we tell a story, it makes me think of another thing I've done. I didn't realize how bad I was until I see other people's comments. I'm like, wait, I've done that too.
Yeah. Well, I think that tractors, there's not a huge, YouTube is such an amazing community, because I think a lot of us learned tractor tips and tricks, and even products like that Jake has, like some things that are helpful, right? Like there's really the user manual says, like, okay, don't flip it, and all the things not to do, and where all the stupid replacement stickers would go. Like, has anyone ever replaced one of the stickers, the warning stickers or caution stickers, on any equipment that you have?
There's warning stickers on a tractor.
It doesn't say
that.
Who knew?
We were doing that video up in Maine, and Tony was like, "Yeah, don't do this." And I'm like, "Yeah, obviously don't do this. There's a warning sticker right here, Tony. It's right there. You just didn't ever read it or look at it."
It was a pinch point. It was a pinch point. I can't read.
He thought it said warming. He thought it was like, it gets cold out, you put your hands on it.
That's right.
And Shane Benson, do or don't buy a Coyote CK2620. I think your question is, should you buy a Coyote? The size of the Coyote is that's really what's going to matter.
I think Coyote's a good tractor.
I think Coyote makes a fine machine. Tony and I are sponsored by TYM. I think that neither one of us would be sponsored by I own a Coyote too. Yeah. I currently own a Coyote, and it's
I had a CK20. That's an old. I don't even make that no more. CK20S. It was a beast of a little tractor. So yeah.
Anyway, every machine you buy, Shane, is going to have issues. So
absolutely, I don't care what tractor. There is no perfect tractor brand.
No.
So I say buy a tractor that you have a dealer close by that can support you, and that's I think that's the key. Because I get so many people, like, I got a guy right now who's very upset. He texts me and said, "Hey, I got this tractor's got a problem, and I can you help me with it? It's an electrical problem." And he said, "My dealer's over 100 miles away." And I'm like, that was the first mistake right there. Because you want to hope. We've been blessed. I've got over 500 hours on the 474, and I don't have any problems with it. And then even if I did, I'm a fairly decent mechanic, and I could probably fix it myself. Because at this point, I'm getting ready to run out of warranty anyway. So I got about 1.5 years left on warranty. But the having a dealer close by is a big deal.
It is.
How far do you think?
I've always said to buy a tractor for the dealer, and buy a dealer. Don't buy a tractor. Yeah, if you have a tractor without good dealer support, eventually it's going to become a paperweight.
Now, because we're sponsored by TYM, if you don't have any dealers next to you and you're going to buy 100 miles away, buy a TYM. But
what is your biggest mistake with the tractor that made you the most nervous, but maybe didn't necessarily cause damage? Like the pucker factor. Like, what was your craziest moment that you're like, "Hey, we shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake"?
I was backing down a hill. Yeah, y'all leave a comment for that one too. I was backing down a hill with the mulcher on the 348 mulcher, and it was totally dry. It was so dusty you couldn't hardly see, and it was a very, I mean, I'm talking a very, very steep hill. And then the next thing I know, the front of my tractor is aimed up at the sky almost. I backed off into what looked like a normal, just the ground would come down like this and flatten out, but it was a spring. And I backed off into it and literally buried the tractor up past the axles. The 3-point hitch was mucked in the ground. The mulcher had the 3-point hitch all the way to the top of the range. It's a wonder it didn't break the 3-point hitch, but it rested in there, and it took Tanya and me about probably almost a whole day to get that out, because the little tractor wouldn't pull. It was just, we're pulling uphill. It was a horrible situation. We finally got it out. But to answer your question, Jay, that second as I fell backwards, that seemed like an hour. Yeah, it was time just completely stopped. I'm sure my face turned 4 shades of white. And we probably, there was probably need of some linen changing, some cloth changes.
And that's I think it's a great question. And I think that actually hits another point on my list is, realize what machine you have and buy the right machine for the job. And my pucker factors, if you watch our channel, around our dam, camera, anyone here knows that if you're filming, a camera can't translate it can't translate slopes. So I've had people say, "Oh, my lawn tractor can do it." No, it can't. Like you can't do that. You can't do it sideways because you will die. And there's when I first was mowing that dam with a 6-foot rotary cutter, just backwards, forwards, I'm telling you, like it felt like you were about to go down a big roller coaster. It was terrifying. And I was like, you know what? I'm not dying for this. So that's when I really started researching slope mowers. And that's how I came to the Ventrac. And we have a Ventrac because my life, my limbs, my health, my body is more valuable than what that machine costs. And yes, it was expensive. And yes, it was an investment our family made. And yeah, like it was not just like, oh, we don't have money sitting around. We're just like, oh, let's go buy another machine. But that was one of those things where it's like, is my leg or my life more important and more valuable than, I think I paid $22,000 for it used.
Right.
And it was a great investment, and we use it all the time, and it's a fantastic tool. So
I hear a lot of good things about Ventrac. So Tanya, spell check got her too. What she's trying to say is chocolate pudding. That's what I backed off into.
I know what I'm buying you all for Christmas.
Yeah, that's right. Dictionary.
Hooked on phonics worked for me.
Hooked on phonics. Listen, I'll give you one more example. And this is how easy and how fast things can change. So I was in East Tennessee. Our house was on a really steep hill. I may have told this story on the channel before. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I have. But it was on East Tennessee, and our house is 1,300 feet above sea level, and the front yard was like this. And I would mow down the hill, turn around, come back up the hill. And it's very important when you're doing that you keep your 4-wheel drive engaged, because the front wheels will tie into your brakes on the rear of your tractor, and you'll get some braking action through the front of your front wheels as you go down. Well, I went down the hill and come back up the hill, and Tanya come out on the deck and yelled at me for lunch. And so I drove up onto the top of the hill, onto my driveway, which was pavement. And I reached down and I turned the 4-wheel drive off, and I went inside to eat lunch. I come back out, I jumped on the tractor, and I turned down that hill without 4-wheel drive on. And I'm not exaggerating this in any way. I was going down the hill sliding, and I would drift to the left, and I would compensate by turning the steering wheel to the left, and then I'd go back over and drift to the right. And I had that tractor on 2 wheels more than once, and finally got to the bottom of the hill where the slope feathered out and come to a complete stop. And I'm pretty sure I sat at the bottom of that hill for a good 5 minutes. As again, another underwear situation for sure. And I never forgot to turn that 4-wheel drive on again, though.
Right.
So
I bet now. I think mine was when I was in high school, and my father bought a shavings mill. So it made the stuff you buy in a bag for animal bedding,
Mhm.
but it made it in bulk. We had the horse farm growing up, and there was a while where we couldn't put our hands on sawdust. And so we needed bedding for the 40-ish horses that we had at the time. So he bought the shaving mill. And when I was in high school, I was logging pine for that. And I mean, we're farmers. So I had a New Holland tractor and a skid steer. I didn't have a skidder or anything like that to play with. And I was skidding with the tractor, and I had a log or a tree tied off on my loader on the bucket. There's a clevis that we welded on the bucket so we can tie things off to it. And I was backing up and pulling it, and it caught a stump and then flipped off the roadway, kind of off the ravine, and then took off down the hill. The tree did, and it pulled the tractor with it. And the tractor ended up basically up on the front two tires with the back up in the air as it was trying to get pulled off the hill. That was probably my biggest pucker factor on a tractor.
Yeah, that sounds pretty intensive.
Peterson Farms in Nashville, you're 100% right. I can't understand for the life of me why I watch YouTube videos a lot. I don't really like cable anymore. And when I watch someone on a tractor that doesn't have the ROPS up on hills, I don't get it. Even zero turns. Like you watch someone in a zero turn flying around without the ROPS up, and it's like
I wear my seatbelt on my zero turn for sure.
It's just one pin.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just put it up, put the pin in, and call it a day. I mean, make it easy on yourself. But
here's one you don't see down here down south. Pierre said they broke your drive shaft going into a snowbank too fast. We don't have snow here, so that's not an issue.
When I saw the title to this video, one thing popped in my head as far as like a don't, and I would say like a pet peeve of mine: angled snow blades on tractors. Okay,
on the loader,
I am not a fan. On the loader, yep.
Yeah.
I am not. A lot of people do it, and I'm not a fan. And I have personal experience with a tractor on the farm and an angled snow blade that we had built for the skid steer, but the skid steer was broken, so I was using on the tractor. And I was pushing across our parking lot, and the blade caught something, and I was on ice, and I went from driving straight and forward to immediately the tractor was thrown sideways because it started to trip, but the front axle didn't have enough traction to push through what I caught, and it just shoved the machine sideways, and it pushed the whole loader and tweaked that whole loader to the side where we had to hook it up and then pull it back. Well, that's kind of a thing. That
goes back to what I said about the most damaged thing by first-time tractor owners is the loader. I can't tell you how many people they don't understand what it's meant to do. The name loader, gives it it's a little bit of a definition there. Loader,
loader. It's a dozer loader.
Load things. You can, like I said, you can be gentle and do some minor cuts, but I see people in second range bury that, just run into a side of a hill with their loader and then fold the loader up and wonder why the loader's damaged. Not the problem with the tractor, it's just not what it's meant to do.
Right. Well, Dale and Jeff, Dale and Jeff and everyone else. I mean, this is just proof that, I mean, praise the Lord, you guys are okay, and hopefully we all learn lessons. I mean, this is like hunting. When you talk to friends, you're like, I'm not going to wear a safety harness when I'm hunting. You're like, man, I know you look stupid wearing a safety harness. I know that. I know I look stupid wearing a safety harness. I know it's uncomfortable, but it's like, if you're going to go 20 feet up in a tree, like, let's use some of our common sense. Yeah. And one of my most viewed videos, I bent my loader.
Yep. That's a fact.
Most expensive video too.
There's I had clicked on it here. I lost my steering. So I did a video where I was coming around. I was just like, no part of this whatsoever. It's on my channel somewhere, but it was a guy had a big John Deere tractor, and he was rolling down the 2-lane highway and lost steering while in road gear and run off of a cliff on the side. And it threw him in, he didn't have a seatbelt on, and it threw him. He was in a cab though. That was, at least it kept him inside the cab, but it threw him into the steering wheel, bruised his rib, and damaged the tractor really bad. And that video's in there. It's if you're interested in see it, where this big crane truck come out and picked it up out of the ditch. But yeah, he let me talk to him. He told me what happened. He said, I was just going from point A to point B, and then he, as he was turning, the road had a small curve. Next thing you know, steering quit working, and straight away he went right off of probably about I'm be very about 20 foot. That's being very conservative. It was a pretty steep fall off, and once you go, you're just there for the ride.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
Have
And
either
that's,
of you ever flipped a machine?
I'm not gonna answer that question because I'm
No.
about to knock on wood if I do.
No, I've never turned a machine over. I did load a big, like a 10-yard, not 10-yard, probably a 5-yard loader. In the Army, I was going up ramps on the back of a Army lowboy, and as I was going up, the lowboy ramps broke, and the whole unit just fell backwards like this. I felt the front end come up, and I didn't know what to do. I was halfway up on the trailer, so youth and inexperience kicked in, and I just gassed it, and it climbed on up. It climbed on up there, but now I probably would have just got still and let it see what happened, because I could have figured. I didn't have my seatbelt on it either. I would probably figured out which way I wanted to get off that thing.
Well, and I know me. That's that's one of the reasons I bought the Ventrac, is because I'll get to the point where I'll get comfortable, and I'll get tired, or I rushed or something like that, and I was like, you know what, I just know myself. I've got to do something to mitigate that desire to just get something done quickly. Like I flipped a 3-wheeler before and stuff like that, but I mean, it has to be the right tool for the job, and I have to know that I have enough time to finish it.
Right. So this story here from Dale brought up another story that I had happen. I think it's early on in my tractoring career. I was out in the woods and not even trying to push a tree down, but the loader stuck out a good ways, and I was making a turn, and I bumped the tree, and it just so happened that tree was dead, and probably about a 6-inch diameter limb that was dead, probably 7 feet long, come flying out of the top of the tree, landed on the side of the loader and stuck in the ground about probably 4 or 5 inches. Now, know if that fell on top of me, that would have killed me.
That's it. Yep.
No, because it hit the loader and still went 4 or 5 inches in the ground. And
Ambient City Farm, I'll tell you, if you have a serious slope, like just you have to think about how long are you going to roll the dice on that, and how long are you going to own that property, and how long are you going to mow that hill. And it just takes that one time it's wet, or one time that a groundhog dug out a hole or something. And I don't work for Ventrac. I don't, they're super kind people. Like, we have a good relationship. They've sent me t-shirts and hats and stuff, and they sent me a suspension seat for my Ventrac. But I get nothing out of saying nice things about that machine. But that machine is fantastic. It is very easy to drive, and it will save your life.
So we've seen a lot of things at the show too that would, you're talking about the Ventrac there, but there's so many now where there's remote controlled. There's a remote controlled Ventrac, and there's remote controlled mowers.
They're so expensive, though. I mean, the thing is that, like, there's not a lot of versatility in some of that stuff. Unless you're a government who's just gonna, money literally grows on trees. I don't know how you afford it. Like, some of those things are $100,000 for a remote control, mower, where the Ventrac, I mean, I think brand new, totally decked out Ventrac's like $40,000. You get a used one cheaper than that, obviously, which I did. But you could take that mower off and put a tiller or a stump grinder or whatever. It's almost like a compact tractor and a skid, like a compact skid loader, like had a baby. Like, I don't know, they're great.
They're cool machines.
All right,
Yeah,
I could see the remote control being feasible for a business that's operating and needing to do slopes. That would be where it would make sense.
Yeah. I told Aaron from Ventrac at the show, I was like, man, I think that is super cool. I think he'll sell a bunch of them because municipalities will buy them for people who aren't skilled enough on them. Yeah, if a Ventrac can't cut it, you don't need to put a machine on it. Like, it's just that simple. Yes, Wade, same thing, brother. Honda 3-wheeler, the old Big Red.
Yep.
Yeah, I've never flipped a tractor, but I did flip a skid steer once, and that was interesting.
Well, at least you're safe on that.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because when it flipped, it did it almost like in slow motion.
Yep.
It was very
everything they do is
really
slow motion.
slow.
Everything they do is in slow motion. And you know, my Kubota is so heavy that when I have that tree saw out real far, if I hit a real bumpy part of the farm, I just kind of like don't. You just kind of go for the ride. And I've gotten to the point where I just kind of put my hands up and pretend like I'm going to a club or something. But you know, one thing, talk about all this flipping that I think is interesting, and another tip that I'd give people that have a newer machine or a newer tractor is check the tire pressure of your tractor when it's delivered.
Oh yeah.
My gosh, TYM, I think they think the world's running out of air or something because that thing is concrete.
Yeah, you got if you want to get good traction.
So much air.
Yeah, too much pressure. Well, I mean, a good example that the Bighorn side by side that I got in the front end, it's like this thing drives so weird.
Yeah.
And then I dropped the air pressure to about 8 psi. I'm like, wait, it drives great now. I think must have had like 30 pounds of pressure in a side by side tire.
Yeah. So what pressure do you guys run in your tractors?
I run about 10 in my front, and probably 12 in the rear.
Okay. Yeah, I'm probably in that same range, the 10 to 15.
Reality is I don't know. I hadn't checked it in a year.
It's just when they first deliver them, I don't know what it is. I guess it's so you don't have flat spots.
They don't even put the tires together. Those come from the factory that way. They come pre-made up on the rims, and they just bolt them on. So
yeah, buddy.
So it's probably the manufacturer setting it, the tire manufacturer, whoever they're sourcing the tires from, then, right, Tony?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just setting it for max sidewall pressure.
One of the things that I broke out. This is another one. I was doing some. I'm not going to call out any company, but I was doing some research and development with a company, and they sent me a new implement that had a PTO slip clutch, and it was made for a smaller tractor. And I didn't think about it, but if you guys don't know this, slip clutches for your implements needs to be adjusted. You see a bunch of nuts around the slip clutch, and those nuts have torque specs based upon your horsepower of your tractor. Is how you adjust them. The higher your torque, the more horsepower that it will take before that clutch slips. So obviously, if you've got like a 70 horsepower tractor, then you're going to have it torqued a lot harder than you would for a 25. Well, most slip clutches come from the factory set up for like 50 horsepower. That's kind of like the standard. Well, I got this new implement, and whatever, I didn't think about torquing the slip clutch, and it was set for like 50. And the implement that I was using went on it hit a non-movable option, an immovable.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Anyway,
that daggum thing wouldn't move. Anyway,
there you go.
It dead stopped, and ripped the drive shaft, or not the drive shaft. It's the shaft between the engine and the transmission of my T25. I don't consider that a TYM failure. That was a Tony failure, and that's why I didn't warranty it either. I just that was some more of that stupid tax. I forgot to adjust that clutch out. Come back, adjusted the clutch out. It works perfectly now.
I'm going to add something to that story because
go ahead.
Not the first time I heard this. So if it shows you anything about Tony's character, he had this part on order and it was back ordered, and the dealer got some in that he ordered it from and offered to give him one. And he said, well, don't you have other people that ordered it? And he goes, yeah, I did, but if you would like it, we can get it to you. And he said, well, no, I don't feel right taking it away from somebody else. I would rather they get their parts before I get mine. So he waited and didn't take it. And I think that shows a lot about the man's character.
Daggone it. Now my head's all swole up.
No, you are a good man, Tony. And I think that's
don't stop.
I'm not stopping. There's been a couple of clowns on YouTube that have tried to run their mouth about Tony and people who are TYM, ambassadors, and I don't care what they say about me because but it just, for someone to say that Tony doesn't have good character, they just don't know you. I mean, that's
I take that with a grain of salt and move on. But I don't think people realize what happens is when I'm not going to sell my soul for any sponsor. I'm not going to hold back. And matter of fact, part of every agreement and contract that I sign with any sponsor is they have no recourse to tell me what to do. So like, they can't tell me what to put on a video. And
right.
For a good example, and it's, the irony is Jake here fixed this problem. When I got the 2515, I did a review on it. And the first thing I said about it TYM sent me the 2515 to do a review on it, and I said the backhoe seat is stupid, and they're my sponsor. And I was like, how did this make it through research and development? You know that. Well, then.
Well, they bought it. It was a Branson machine.
And, it was a Branson machine, and that was a Branson problem. And I know that it's going to be fixed, and the new iterations are fixed. But if you have a T20, I mean a 2515, and notice the backhoe seat is too close to controls. Jake made an adapter to fix it, so it's on his website, I think, right? Yeah.
The reason that I made that in the first place was you guys.
Yeah.
The last time I was here on this show, you guys talked about it, and I said, you know what? I think I have one of those at the shop. Let's go look at it. So
you made a heck. I mean, I probably botched the install, but I mean, you did a heck of a job on it. It works really well, and
we got a video coming out on it.
Yeah, I made a mistake and sent you the wrong hardware pack, or some of the wrong hardware when I sent you yours. That was
makes
our
a better
first
video.
initial prototype. Yeah, no, that's fine. And you called us out on it, and I appreciate that.
Well, I didn't call you out. I called you out because I think you put like 9 bolts too many. The thing is rock solid. If I was 1,500 pounds, I would probably need the extra bolts. But I think that I think it's great. But
I'd rather overbuild than underbuild.
I want to answer this question, Gary. I don't think that's the whole purpose of a float mode is to drop the loader. You don't want to have any. You don't want it to be slow, because when you're backing up, you want that loader to hug the ground, and if it's got a restrictor on it, you're going to have high spots and low spots. You want that loader to drag and stay with the ground. And sometimes if your back end drops off in a little ditch, if you got a restrictor, your front bucket's going to lift up, and that's going to defeat the whole purpose of a float. If you want it to go down slow, then don't put it in float. Just push it down to get it to where you want it, and then go ahead and pop it on into float. But if you got it up high and hit float, it's going to drop. And that's every brand out there. That's what float mode's made for.
Just make sure that you have, when you put it in float mode, you put it in fast, because otherwise you pick the front end of your machine off the ground, and then it hits float mode, and then your machine slams down.
Yeah. Well, funny story there. I was on a little mini skid steer at this equipment expo, and I was on Evan was in here, Country View Acres. He was videoing me on his channel. That video is on his channel, and he did not take that out of his. He did not edit that out. So I was on this little skid steer, and I went to push it in float. Well, I didn't quite get there, and that thing's hydraulics is super fast. So it took the whole front of the loader, picked the whole front of the loader up, and threw me off the back of it because it was a stand on, and yeah.
Well, you guys had busted biscuits in there, as Wade called me, getting that skid steer. I'll tell you, man, that was and I'll tell you, the big Kato machine though, that was nice.
Oh yeah,
that was really nice. Those Kato machines, I mean, there's something there. Those are really nice machines.
Yeah, I feel really bad about myself after having this video now, because I've tore up a lot of stuff. I didn't realize it. Now we start talking about it and done a lot of dumb things.
You use it. I mean, think about it.
It's been
add up the hours. Add up the hours. From 1,000 hours on all machines.
From a child, I've been on tractors and equipment, and even in the Army, we were always on equipment. I can tell you stories for days on stupid things I've done in the Army, but I didn't have to pay for it there. You guys did. Pay your taxes, buddy.
Yeah. Well, what I would say is that with all of the hours that you put on there, Tony needs a stand-up machine. I love that Bombalite mini skid steer. I don't know what I would use it for. Yeah, Brock's video, he said you find tons of things to use it for. It is just so cool. It was so much fun to operate.
The little track one would be ideal for somebody that had like a big horse operation. You're going to be or not the little track, but the little wheel one. What I meant to be the little wheel one.
I think either one of them.
Well, the track one's a little bit too wide for most gates. That little wheel one is so skinny. And you stand on that, dude, get in there. We're talking about the Bombalite one, right? Not the Kato. Yeah. The little wheel.
No, the Kato one's not.
Kato. Is it Kato or Kato?
I think it's Kato.
Okay, we'll go with you. What you say?
Scott, the mini skid, there's a foot switch on there that's a safety switch that once you get off of that, it shuts the hydraulics off, but it doesn't kill the engine.
Right.
So it'll kill the hydraulics.
Yeah, it just stopped as soon as I come off of it. But at that point, it was it could have tilted. Yeah, it could have tilted.
Yeah, it could have been something behind you that it threw you into. I mean, getting thrown off the machine.
Thanks, Evan, for calling me out.
Listen, man, we call ourselves out more than anything. But yeah, I think that there's so much cool equipment coming out of there. So another thing I have on here, some simple stuff like not washing your tractor. I mean, that's a do. Absolutely wash your tractor if you want it to last and keep the value up. Getting too much sun or too much rain, try and put a cover over it if you can. Not like a car cover, but like some kind of structure over it. As I say, you either pay for a barn or you pay for a barn, one way or the other. But lubricants, I think that's a big thing too. A lot of people will use the wrong lubricants because they just don't know.
Right.
And we talked about that in our Equip Expo videos, where a lot of manufacturers will have their own lubricants. I know Coyote has Coyote lube. Now TYM has TYM branded lube. And
it's not that another brand wouldn't work, but if you want to know that you want to know that you want to know, then you go get the brand of oil. You know that it's the right stuff for that tractor.
Well, the thing is too, it's not more expensive in most cases, right? It's very reasonably priced. You're supporting your local dealer by doing that, which is extremely important. Like if your local dealer, if you want them to be there for you when you do something dumb, and get your machine back up and running. Well, when you're going in there buying oil and buying filters and buying those kinds of things, which you can go to O'Reilly or Track Supply, wherever you want to go, or you can go to your dealer. I think that when you go to your dealer, you build that relationship with them. And for me, I have multiple brands of machines. So if I have a TYM oil and filter, I know it's for the 2515 H or it's for the 5520 CH. So, you know, if it's for the Coyote, then I'll have a Coyote label on it. If it's for the Kubota, I'll have a Kubota label on it. So
here's this brings me. This right here is a great comment. When you wash your machine, you see a lot of loose bolts.
Yeah.
I'm going to say another
comment, Peter.
It's going to lead into this too, as far as first time tractor owners. One of the things that they fail to do, a loader is a ground engagement attachment. It engages the ground. It flexes. It takes a lot of abuse, and so many people will not. You know, it's about every 50 hours I check my loader bolts. I retorque them, and people are getting mad that they have to retorque a loader. That's just part of any tractor ownership. It's not a car. You know, the loaders are taking immense amounts of abuse. So every time that every time you do a service, 50-hour service, whatever, like I said, 50-hour service for sure. But I would go as far as to say, pull your loader bolts out, put some red Loctite on them, put them back in, and then make a mark with a paint pen so you can tell if any of them are backed off. Another thing, like what Peter's saying here, is if you wash your tractor, you can see around the bolts if it's rusty. If you see rust around a bolt, that means that bolt's loose. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah. What about annual service? Do you guys, regardless of hours, do you guys do like an annual engine oil change in your equipment?
I do.
I always have. And I was a power generator tech for a while, and that was really hammered into us as oil degrades, right? And it breaks down over time regardless of use. So we would change oil on these gen sets that had 55 gallons or 65 gallons of oil that had 2 hours on it. But because it was a year old, we just changed it.
You can get around that now. You've got oil sampling kits you can send off. If it's something that's going to be like 55 gallons of it, I probably wouldn't do it. But if you're talking about a small time like tractor that's going to take less than 5 gallons, I change my T25 and 474 every year. I know sometimes that I've only got 50 hours on it. You know, I don't care. It makes me
I honestly do it. I do it so often in the summer. I hate doing it in the summertime when it's hot. You know, it's just you're sweating all over everything and crawling into machines, and there's spiders, bugs and mosquitoes or red wasps. I would rather wintertime when nothing's growing, there's no grass or anything. It's just pick a machine, go out there, change oil, and just relax and enjoy that process. So I must too.
Your winter and my winter are two different things, my friend.
Oh yeah, your winter's wide open, right? You're pushing snow.
It's cold.
Yeah. Well, and that's we get cold, but we don't get snow. I mean, it's not uncommon in Nashville to be 5 degrees. I mean,
so let me ask this question. This would be a new tractor question, and this is something I've not thought about because we don't deal with it here. So you're upstate New York. You've got some serious cold. Do you guys run different oil in the winter versus the summer, or do you run the same oil all year long?
Yeah, we run us personally. We run the same oil all year. Some companies may, or some people may, but we personally don't.
Yep.
No, we run block heaters just in the winter.
Yeah.
If you're going to use your tractor, you plug in your block heater for a couple hours. That heats up your whole cooling system, which in turn gets the oil a little bit thinner. So when you're starting it, you're not starting with oil that's negative 10 degrees.
Yeah.
Here's a don't right here. Peterson Farm from Nashville, Ballast. A lot of times people will get a new tractor and they don't have the rear tires loaded. I don't care if you do have the rear tires loaded. You still need to have a nice heavy implement on the back if you're going to do loader work. And the reason being is whenever you're doing loader work, you want as much weight as you can have on the back end of the tractor. So that pivots the weight of the loader, whatever you're picking up the loader, to the rear wheels, which are a lot stronger than your front axle. And if you don't have ballast on the back of your tractor, everything you pick up is, including the tractor's weight, is pivoting on your front axles. So that's why having rear ballast is so important, not only from not only for just keeping it safe. You want that tractor to be stable, but every time you pick up a heavy load, and even though your tractor is heavy in the rear end, you pick up a real heavy load and you don't have ballast on the back of the tractor, you're removing you're pivoting all that, shifting the weight of your whole entire tractor, and everything you're picking up is shifting up and going to that front axle. And that's why so many people, the first time tractor owners, my tractor, my front wheel fell off, and they're not using ballast. And on top of that, they're picking up a heavy load and then going high range and running across the field trying to get something done really fast. And you take that same load that's say 2,000 pounds and hit a bump, the front end drops 6 inches. Well, all that weight is multiplied as that drops and then comes to a dead stop. It just, whatever, that 2,000 pound may have been 8,000 pounds of force on your front axle. And so you never want to run fast when you're picking up heavy loads. You always want to have really heavy ballast in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like he said, tire ballast and loading your tires, that helps, but that doesn't transfer the weight to the rear axle. It just makes the back of the tractor heavier.
Right.
So you have to have that 3-point implement to actually put that weight on the rear axle. Otherwise, you're essentially just like hanging extra weight off of your rear axle rather than like pushing down on the axle.
It's great for traction. It helps, but it's not the same It's just not enough weight. Also, you got to take into account that, just for example, if I push down right here, right? If I push down right here, I can apply so much weight, and it's say 100 pounds. If I push down out here, I got more leverage. So the further you take that weight on the back of your tractor and move it towards the rear, the further rear, the better the ballast is. So I run 1,000-pound mulcher all the time. Wheel spacers, yes or no?
I vote yes.
Yeah, I do too. I mean,
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It depends on the space. I mean, if
you can get carried away and overload your axle.
You can. Yeah, you don't want to go too far. Yeah, you don't want to be putting like 12-inch spacers on.
Yeah, you want to do like 3-4 inch spacers at the most. I think, or most of them like 3 inches. The ones I've seen, maybe 4 inches.
Even an inch on each side gives you. I mean, 1 inch of width gives you a tremendous increase in stability on the slopes and everything. And a lot of it too is speed and just using your best judgment.
Sure.
And you actually brought something up there, Jake, about plugging in block heaters, and that's one thing I had on my list also. Today, I literally bought 5. And again, I'm not. Gulu has sent me some I've talked about them on my channel before, and I think I may have mentioned them all here before. Yeah, from time to time, people will say, "Hey, we want to send you something to let you try it out," and I'll typically respond back if it's something I would actually use or buy. I'll say like, "Hey, you can send it, and if it's great, it'll make it to a video. If it's not, it won't." It is what it is. And they were people that I was at Josh's Stony Ridge Farmer's place, and I saw him use one, and I was like, "That's amazing." And then they reached out. I was like, "Yes, I will try one." And then they've come out with a battery tender. So right now, I think I paid $28 and I bought 5 of them today. I bought one for the skid steer, both TYMs, the Coyote, and the Ventrac. So I bought one for each of those machines because it is unbelievable how expensive batteries have become. I remember batteries were like $49. You get a high quality battery, and now it's like my F350, we call it Charmin, that old F350. Both of the batteries are dead in that thing. It's going to be $600 to replace the batteries in that truck.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
paid
I just put one in my
for the
Tahoe
truck.
for 300.
Yeah, I paid $1,500 for the truck. Like, so I'm like, well, I'll just let it sit there dead till I need it, and then get the most expensive one I can with the best, well, not most expensive, best warranty, because they are so expensive. So
Absolutely, batteries are unreal now.
yeah, it was $140 to buy those 5 things. Those battery tenders should do a great job. And side by side batteries, and they're expensive too, but they're nothing like the big equipment batteries.
If you guys have an interstate store near you, when it comes to batteries, check them out, because they do refurbished batteries with a pretty good warranty, and usually they're really, really good priced.
Right.
Well, they're also a faith-based company, which I've mentioned before. Interstate's they have their faith statement on there. If that's important to you and you want to put your money where your values are, I will buy an Interstate battery anytime that I can because of that. And TYM, actually, mine came with an Interstate battery, as did my Coyote.
Yeah. So Wade just pointed this out. There's a lot of first-time tractor purchasers that are be watching this video. Each one of the wheels on the tractor has a disc, and you can turn the disc out. It's a dish, I guess is a better way to say it. It's got a dish. So if you turn the dish out, it's going to cause the tires to be at their widest point. And then some tractors, like you get into the bigger tractors, they're going to actually have adjustable settings where you can set the width of the tires. And I see a lot of people on the tractor forums going, I need wheel spacers, but I look at the picture of their tractor and they have adjustable wheels and they've not turned them out. I don't think they realize they are adjustable. So a lot of them are adjustable, and then most every one of them you can take the right wheel and move it to the left side, tread still going the correct way, but you get a little bit further, a little wider situation there.
I need to do that. I need to do that with my 5520, because at first glance, I actually asked them to have them at the widest setting. At first glance, I thought the dish was inverted, but it's not. So
that's a big old tractor, man. Them tires gonna be heavy.
Oh, I know, and they're not loaded yet, which I need to do it before I load it. Well, when you come to the farm and we do our little project together, maybe you and I'll do it together. That way I can put you to work. What size jack do I need for that? Gosh, that tractor's heavy.
Oh, it's not that bad. Automotive jack be fine.
Yep. Figure most of your floor jacks.
Get you that little one that goes in the back of your.
I've got a bottle jack.
Get that little Yugo jack that you wind. It'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll tell you, anyone who has so I have a Silverado 2500, and I had a tire blowout at like 8,000 miles. If you own a Silverado or a Ford or any kind of newer kind of truck, I want you to go at some point soon and look at your tire changing equipment that comes with your vehicle.
It's crazy.
When you're done laughing, go ahead and do what I did. Go find yourself a cheap impact gun with a battery. Go ahead and get the right bolt on there, or the right
socket.
I can't think tonight.
That socket thing?
Yeah, I can't think tonight. Get the right socket on there, because that will make your life so much easier if you have a flat, and also know how to get to get that tire out. Because some of these new ones, like I had to take my key apart and put part of my key in the back and turn it, and it was like
text me, buddy,
on the side of the road. So
Kevin's gonna text me a question.
Kevin, do you don't want to ask us with the group? I mean, we're all friends here. The internet's not forever. How about Ed? How about Ed? Tires are expensive too. Very inflated. See what I did there?
I love that. I love that. So yeah,
is this thing on
here? He said 4 foot wide. Well, I say this: the B2601 is very low center of gravity. But still, I mean, putting space around it's going to make it more stable for sure. Especially when you're using that rear motor. That dude's heavy.
Yeah.
So that any width on the rear end is going to make it more stable.
And Tanya, not all dealerships do it.
Kevin's
that TYM dealership I'm working with, they don't offer loading tires. They basically just sell tractors. They don't.
Right.
There's not a whole lot of value out there. So
most every co-op will come out to your location and fill your tires for a fee, and they're pretty reasonable. They'll bring their truck and all the juice out to and do it all at one time. Kind of expensive, especially if you're using the, like the what is it called? The beet juice. Yeah.
Yeah. Rim guard. Rim guard.
Yeah, beet juice. I use water.
Well, Hank's in Florida. Hank's in Florida, so he put basically just water in his.
He put water in his.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would do that. Something about corrosion, you know.
It's been done for the first tractors ever made had water in them. And
so he actually said in the video, he's like, you'll say that my rims are going to rust out, and he said his age, and he's like, by the time these rims rust out, I'll be gone. But I kind of disagree with that, because I don't know that the steel is the same as it used to be.
Well, and I also don't know if just because something's always been done means it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good point.
I don't know.
If I was there, I'd put water in it. I'm just saying.
I don't blame him for doing it.
Yeah, because it's expensive. You put
Sorry, Hank. I'm not trying to call you out, man.
Yeah, but I use windshield washer fluid in mine.
But that's expensive too, though. How do you get windshield washer fluid to pour through?
I made a whole video about it. So you don't watch my channel, apparently.
There's a valve.
Listen, I knew exactly
that goes on the tire.
Yeah, I knew exactly what video you were talking about. Our friend
I sprayed windshield washer in my face. All right. He said
rim guard versus washer fluid. My dealer did not like rim guard. Kevin, I think your dealer is just being dramatic. If rim guard, in my opinion, is superior to any of them, it's just more expensive. It's biodegradable. It's environmentally safe. It's heavier than water and windshield wiper fluid, and it will not corrode your rims. So and it won't freeze at all. Unless you're like -30.
Yeah, I got a new question or new owner question. I think for somebody's buying a new tractor and get you guys' experience, especially Jake being where you're at. Do you run an additive in your fuel for the winter?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What would you recommend?
So we've always run
recommend and why?
We've always run power service. We've had good luck with that. Here's a mistake people make. They put the 911, like the power service 911, they'll use the red container as a preventative tool, and that's not what it's for. So you want to make sure they're using the white bottle as a preventative tool, and then use the 911 if you do gel, which happens a lot. If you're in the cold temperatures.
Is that diesel heat? Is that what that is? 911?
What's that?
Is 911 is that diesel heat?
No, it's still made by power service. So they have a couple different
different
formulas and solutions, essentially. And the red bottle is 911 to be used in a 911 situation.
Right.
You are gelled, you need to get going.
It's not the best for all the O-rings and stuff in there. Hot
Shot Secret is good stuff. Everything they make is good. So that's another good company
that's a good question there for first time tractor owners. And it depends on where you're at. Like where I'm at, I don't add, I run Lucas through mine every once in a while just to make sure that I have keep my injectors clean, even though the manual says don't do it. I've been running Lucas for years and I've never had any issue, but we don't add additives. We have winter fuel and summer fuel here. And I'll just make sure that I put winter fuel in right about the time that it's going to start freezing. But I mean, an extreme cold case here for us is, we might have 1 or 2 days a year that gets down into single digits. Most of the time we're going to be in I think our average winter temperature is like 40.
It's not just that. We don't have snow. So it's like in many cases, if it's 10 degrees outside, the tractor's just going to sit. Yes, Wheeler Farm Seafoam is good. I use Seafoam in all my gas engines, not necessarily diesel. You can use it in diesel, but I use House, and I use it year round. I use it in every tank just because I think an ounce of cure is better than a pound of prevention, or whatever that is.
Well, the biggest problem with winter though is gelling. Water freezing up. If you get water in your fuel system and it freezes in the line pre-injector pump, you're pretty much in trouble. Yeah, you're pretty much hosed. So, yeah. So,
I also have my machines are undercover. It comes back to the barn question, right? Like, where are you keeping your machine? And a lot of folks just keep them outside, and if that's the best you can do, then you just need to plan for that.
Some of it's beyond your control. I bought a brand new diesel truck. I had a Nissan Titan XD with a Cummins diesel, the 5.0. And I literally, the truck was like maybe a month old, and I was going to Nashville, and I stopped off at a gas station that I never stop off at because it was early and it was the only thing that was open. And I knew better because it was a low consumption diesel store, mostly gas sold there, not hardly any diesel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I filled up my truck and I made it to the interstate, and all of a sudden it starts kicking and bucking, and basically what I got is a tank full of water.
Right.
And so I would have to drive like 20 miles, pull over, drain my water separator. You know, I finally limped it into a gas station and got I drained the filters again, and then filled it full of I don't remember what additive I put in water. It was a water remover, and I think it was 911. Come to think about it, and I poured everything I could in there. Finally got it done. Got my trip done. Come back and had to change all the filters, which was not cheap.
No, it's not. And that's a great point, Tony. And I think that especially the new tractor owners, if you see have a good night, Evan. See you, bud. If you see a gas station that's like a smaller country gas station, not a lot of people go there. They have a tank in the back that's above ground. Pumps don't look like there's people a lot. I mean, don't fall for the cheaper price, because it's not going to be the best fuel. You need the best quality fuel you can possibly put in there, which is one of the reasons why I know I have housed and everything. Because even though, you know, I have multiple 5-gallon cans, the second I buy those 5-gallon jugs of diesel, they're getting fuel treatment in them immediately, because it will also keep algae and everything else from growing inside that diesel fuel. So,
well, guys, we have made a big old round circle around a lot of things that people have done with a tractor. I feel like I've told a lot of bad things I've done to my tractor, and a lot of things I'm blessed to be here for sure on several of them.
Amen.
You know, obviously God loves me because He's protected me, but I think we gave a new tractor owner something to think about for sure, and I think this video will go a long way over the years to help people with their does and don't this.
Well, and I will say, I think it was Wheeler Farm that is the who was it that was the new tractor owner? I think it was Wheeler Farm, wasn't it? Only 10 hours on the tractor.
I don't know. That might not have been his first tractor.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, if someone is a new tractor owner, I mean, you're in the right place. This is a friendly place. Like, we share information with each other, like knowing big times each other. Every Wheeler Farm, it's Wheeler Farm. So, like, thank you for not doing the typical thing that most of us men do and just saying, "Oh, I got this. Like, these are big, powerful, dangerous machines. They're also extremely helpful and a whole lot of fun. So, you know, we need to lean on each other and teach each other how to do this stuff. And Wheeler Farm, I will tell you, my trick for keeping mice out is keep the hood of your tractor up. That keeps them out of my hood. For some reason, when I started keeping the hood of my tractor up, I never had a mouse under the hood again.
Cats can get to it. Well, guys, I have got to go, and since I'm started this live stream, when I go, it turns off.
You're gonna end the live stream.
Yeah, I have to end. Well, I'm gonna leave it on. Y'all can just talk amongst yourself all night, I guess. But I appreciate you guys for stopping by for this, and I had a good time. I really did. I love talking to you guys. We have a great group. We got 60, 70 people in here at one time, and I sure enjoy this. And again, next Tuesday we're going to skip because it's election night, and everybody's going to be paying attention to that. So
pray for our country, y'all. Be praying
pray for our country.
Hey, before we go
ahead.
I'm going to be doing a podcast here pretty soon with Tony.
I meant to mention that.
Joe, I'm going to try to get you into one too. But if anyone has any questions they want me to ask Tony at all, feel free to email them to me.
That's a scary
it'll be recorded. He will not be able to dodge them. It'll be great. It won't be live, but yeah. So feel free to email to me, Jake at IT.
Listen, back when I worked at McDonald's.
Okay. Appreciate y'all. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
God bless. Have a great night.
Thanks for Jake.